Hi, my name is Barry, and this is my 1970 Dodge Challenger. And it's getting this 5.7 liter Hemi out of a 2005 Dodge Durango. So this is my 70 Challenger. Currently it has a small block 360 and a 3-speed automatic transmission. And it runs okay, but it's definitely overdue for an upgrade. I want something that makes better power, it's more reliable. I want to keep it lightweight over the front wheels, And most importantly, I wanted to switch to a manual transmission. So I decided on a Gen 3 Hemi swap. And I also picked up a 6-speed manual out of a 2015 Challenger. I like the idea of a Challenger 6-speed because it actually left the factory with a Hemi, so you're bolting factory parts to factory parts and you don't have to use any conversion bell housings or any adapter plates or anything like that. And plus I thought it was kind of cool to put a new Challenger drivetrain into an old Challenger. I don't know. So I picked up this 2005 Dodge Durango and I got to test drive it. It ran great, and I got it cheap. That was the main reason for picking it up. There are so many donor cars out there. But also these Durangos have the Ram truck style Hemi, which have a couple of differences to the car Hemis. Pretty much just the way the accessories mount on the front of the engine, I think will provide a little bit more clearance and maybe make it easier to fit in the car. We'll see how that plays out. Man, I gotta say, I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to putting a manual in this car for a long time, and this 360 really doesn't have a lot of power, so I do plan on taking it drag racing and maybe even to the track. I've done some suspension upgrades already, and I'm going to do some more. Sway bars and tubular control arms, better shocks, better springs, that type of thing. I'm a firm believer that these cars are meant to be driven. I want to take this thing maybe on road trips. So that's it. Let's do it. Time to start breaking this thing down and cleaning it up. I took off the intake manifold, and there was this piece of foam that was sitting right in the valley there between the heads. And I think it's used for like heat insulation or maybe sound deadening for valve noise or something like that. But I removed it, and it was a little dirty under there, a little rusty. So I think I ought to clean it out, and I'm going to repaint it. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the foam back in. Maybe it's a good idea just to keep some of the heat from getting into the intake manifold. We'll see about that. One thing about the 2005 truck engines is that they don't have MDS. The MDS is the multi-displacement system, which turns off half the cylinders when you're cruising on the highway for fuel economy or something like that. And most people end up deleting this when they use these engines for swaps. And you can see mine has the MDS plugs already installed, and on a car or a later model you'll see MDS solenoids in there, and you'll have to buy these plugs. Also, to fully delete MDS, you have to take off the heads and switch out the lifters. So now that I have the intake manifold and all of the accessories off, I think the first thing I need to do is give this thing a real good clean. All right, that's a little bit better. Not sure how much I'll clean in the valley. Of course, it'll be hidden underneath the intake manifold, and I'll paint it with some black engine paint later. I think now it's time to remove this front timing cover. I guess I'll have to take off the crank pulley first, and we'll see what it looks like in there. Looks like this thing has a couple of flat tabs on the back here for a 3-hook pulley puller. So let's give it a shot, see if it comes off.
Caught you glancing over my way. No girl had looked at me like that before. Even though I knew your name, we had some time to catch up. I know that you know, I figured you out. Took me a while, but I got there somehow. Conversation, mixed emotions. I made my move without a doubt. I get the feeling that we're playing in the power lines. We're wide awake, way after midnight. Make this moment electrified. We're wide awake, way after midnight. Don't be shy and don't get hasty. Let's give into the time that we're wasting. Moments like these we'll remember. Though we doubt this will last forever. The taste of your lips, of your heart. I feel you breathing when I breathe out. We took it slow, now I'll take it faster. Don't feel the passion inside you now. I get the feeling that we're playing in the power lines. We're wide awake, way after midnight. Make this moment electrified. We're wide awake, way after midnight. I get the feeling that we're playing in the power lines. Wide awake, way after midnight. Make this moment electrified. Wide awake, way after midnight. Take it off, all off. Take it off, all off. Take it off, all off. Take it off.
Well, that did not go as planned. I ended up snapping the bolt on one of these pulley pullers and broke the hook off of the other one. So lesson learned, don't buy the cheapest pulley puller when you're in a hurry. I even tried to heat up the pulley a little bit, but all I did was set the front of the engine on fire. I'll do a little bit more investigation and probably order a little bit higher quality gear puller later on tonight. Okay, round 2. I'm going to try using this different gear puller here. I did some research online, and apparently this is the gear puller of choice for this particular harmonic balancer. I'm also going to use this thread lubricant here. Hopefully that'll help keep the threads smooth when I'm applying a bunch of torque.
Wide awake, way after midnight. I get the feeling that we're playing in the power lines. Wide awake, way after midnight. Make this moment electrified. Wide awake, way after midnight.
All right, there you go. That came off really easily. So this is definitely the style of gear puller you want to use for these guys. I saw a bunch of them online that look pretty much the same, and I got this guy. Let's see. That's the one I got. I think it was like around 30 bucks. Make sure you get the one with the long rod. Everybody online said this was the one needed for the Hemi, and it definitely was the one I needed to pull off this guy with the sort of deeper crankshaft hole there. And you can see, there you go. All right, that came off pretty easily with a little help from the pry bar. Everything looks pretty good in here. Timing chain, still pretty tight. Tensioner is okay. I'll probably replace at least the tensioner anyway. And definitely this front seal here was leaking a little bit. Oil pump looks okay. Oh boy, it's pretty dirty in there. Take a look. I think the EGR valve is kind of known for shooting a bunch of soot back straight from this hole where it plugs in right there. So I think it's time for a deep clean for this intake manifold. And hopefully it won't get too bad next time, because we will be plugging off that EGR for sure.
Standing at a microphone without a melody to sing. Someone that I used to know makes my hands start shaking. and somehow it will ring. Counting on my dying hopes to know the promise I should keep. Days spent in my empty home, no one to talk to do me. Burning every second, so I should never have to think. Ooh, you were the best one. I have to see you again, but I keep running if we have.
All right, it's the next morning. This thing's been soaking for about 15 hours now. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. Ooh, that water looks really dark. Oh yeah. That looks pretty good. You can see some color. That thing's actually a light color in the throttle body there. All right, let's get this thing out of there. I will say that this thing is looking pretty good. Nice and clean in the throttle body area. Actually didn't realize that it wasn't black in there, so that goes to show you how much oil we took out of there. There was definitely a lot of oil in the back right corner over here, which I suspect was coming from this EGR port. I think it was just shooting exhaust and crap. Otherwise though, it's looking pretty good. Well, that was a lot of work, but they came out pretty good. Intake manifold's nice and clean. Inside's nice and fresh. Valve covers look good. Front cover looks good, or at least good enough to paint. And intake ports are looking pretty good. I think we're good to go. Hopefully I end up using this guy. I'm still not sure if I'm going to use this truck manifold or if I'm going to have to switch to the car manifold and front cover. Maybe it's time to do some measurements.